So at least that's rolling now. So whenever you're good, we'll go through it again. I'll keep answers concise.
So your name's Dennis.
It is.
You played college golf at Wake Tech,
Yep, I did.
and you played at Barton.
That is correct.
And at Barton you pursued a degree in business.
Yep, I did.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask you probably about like 10 questions. That's all right.
Sure.
My first question is to you. What did you do to start playing golf? What got you started? When did you start playing golf?
So, for fun, I picked up my club the first time my parents told me at age 2. Then I played more very sporadically up until I was about 14, 15 years old. Realized at the time that hockey wasn't going to take me the full way that I was hoping it would. So I transitioned to golf. And then golf, I started really taking that seriously at the age of 16 when I tried out for my high school team. I didn't play in all the tournaments I wanted to, so then I ended up really working my butt off for the next 3 summers and was able to get good enough to fight for a top seed on our team and then transition over to playing at Wake Tech Park. So really took it seriously from a competitive perspective starting at age 16.
All right. What would you say was your biggest setback from going from high school to college? Like, what would have held you back the most?
Definitely my grades, because high school I just didn't care. I didn't care about my grades. I wanted to play golf. I wanted just to pass every class I could and just move on with my day, and did not value the GPA or my grades as much as I could have or should have, and it prevented me from getting into a couple of colleges I really wanted to, which then dictated me going to Wake Tech instead. Glad I got to play golf there and transfer over to one of the schools I meant to go to originally, but the grades definitely kept me from being able to pursue golf at the highest level out of high school, but still able to work my way back into it later on, but it definitely prevented me from getting on the original. The grades took me on a detour rather than on the original path.
So would you say, did you know what you were gonna do when you were 16 starting to play golf, or when you were going into college to Wake Tech? Did you know what you want to do, like as you were applying to colleges or whatever?
So I knew I didn't want to have to work a job forever. I knew that athletes typically made a lot of money, and I wanted to be able to travel the world, have a luxurious life, just live a comfortable life. So from that standpoint, I knew that sports were a great way to accomplish that. But because I know that I didn't focus on my school as much, my grades as much, I didn't want to wait, like my parents would tell me, 10, 15, 20 years to climb my way up the corporate ladder and make that big money. So for me, the biggest motivator was that was the one route that I knew you really could make a lot of money with if you were good enough.
What was your biggest motivation into going to Barton? What pursued you to Barton?
Genuinely, with total transparency, it was golf. I could have picked some other schools from an education perspective that maybe had more niched business programs or something related to entrepreneurship, but Barton was the one school that really pursued me and wanted me to be a part of it and wanted me to play golf with them. And I also had a couple of buddies who already played there, so that was also a motivating factor. So with that being the case, golf really became the motivator to go to Barton to play and then be able to ultimately pursue my education while continuing to improve my golf game.
Yeah. What would you recommend for students as like juniors, seniors, you're applying to colleges, you're getting ready to go into high school, whether you're going for sports or whatnot else? What would be your biggest recommendation for kids that age?
So the question was, well, for kids who are in my shoes now when I was in high school going into college, what would my biggest recommendation be? So I would recommend definitely valuing not beeping, so throwing me off track. So my biggest motivation advice would definitely be to place value on your education, even if it's not your main focus, because it'll basically end up closing doors for you. It'll end up closing doors for you versus you being able to choose them to close. So instead of, let's say you're applying for jobs, and instead of you being told no to the job, you can earn your way to that door being open, you can still reject it yourself.
Yeah.
So my focus will always be maximize every opportunity you have to maximize your grade opportunity, and then maximize your sport or whatever interest you have outside of that. It's the only reason anyone gets good at anything is because they simply put hyper-focused effort into something for short periods of time, consistently. So for a kid who, if you were at that age, junior, senior, going into college, and you want to do the next best thing, just put focused effort into whatever activity you're doing.
I totally see that. So kids going into college, you played a sport in college, and you obviously had an education.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say was the hardest part or the most difficult part of that?
For me, the biggest learning curve was being disciplined with my days. Initially, I did not have the greatest focus. I loved doing everything, being everywhere, meeting everyone, and I had to learn that things I say yes to take time away from other things. So if I'm saying yes to school, that means a certain amount of my day goes to school. If I'm saying yes to golf, it means I'm saying no to everything else. If I'm saying yes to hang out with friends, I'm saying no to everything else. So it took me time to recognize what I'm saying yes to means I'm saying no to multiple other things. And then not overloading my calendar to the point where I was not following through on what I was saying yes to. So the biggest thing I had to learn was being disciplined enough to know, let's keep my commitments at a minimum so I can consistently see those through and enjoy my time in the process, versus feeling burdened, bogged down, like when people say, I'm just so busy, I've got so much going on, I'm so stressed. For me, that came from saying yes to way too much initially. So I had to learn how to scale myself back and focus on a few things and give my full effort to those things.
So another question I have, it's kind of related to that. So when you go into college, obviously 99% of people, you're 18, you're an adult, you're away from home, you can do almost whatever you want.
Yeah.
And going into college gives you the responsibility of almost everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that's a really difficult thing for most people? Was it difficult for you?
Oh yeah. I was dependent on my routines at home. Going to school, go to the golf course, mom or dad made me dinner, I did my homework, played some games at night, went to bed at 1 or 2, whatever my schedule was at the time. I got dependent on that routine. College is very much so you creating your own routine. I was always given one, so school always had me be there from 8 to 2:30. Golf had me there from 3 to whenever the sun went down. And so I was given more so a schedule that I accepted. College, you create your own schedule. So I had to learn, I'm not being told to do anything, but I have to see things through I committed to. So I had to learn how to, one, create my own schedule, but then two, how to stick to it. Because no one's telling me what to do. I'm simply now gaining responsibility to things I verbally committed to. So I had to learn how to go from being told what to do to now dictating what I actually do.
Yeah. I'm sure that's the hard part because, like you said, you have the internet now, so you can look up almost anything you want. You don't have to call mom and dad, Mom, how do I do laundry? You can look up on Google, and Google will tell you how to do laundry properly.
Yeah, I definitely will say, for anyone going into college now, YouTube is definitely your best friend when it comes to learning how to live on your own, because you can literally find anything on there. There's content creators all day long, whether it's people that I know or people that I know create videos like on organization or on like habit development. There's so much out there where if you need help with something, just YouTube that idea and look at what pops up. A lot of colleges is you simply taking initiative for yourself, and I would say prioritizing your personal development, your person growth.
So I know there's a lot of talk nowadays about college is a waste of time, or you should always go to college, and there's
don't ask. I know where you're going. Don't ask me this question.
there's basic career paths you go. What would you recommend for most people based off what they want to do? Because I know some want to go to college, some don't, some want to go straight into work.
Let me give you this in an analogy. When you want to, like, you like eating cake, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your favorite kind of cake?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. So when you have a favorite kind of cake being chocolate, that your outcome is to make a chocolate cake, you go to the grocery store and buy things that create that outcome.
Yeah.
You're not going to the grocery store. Say you want chocolate cake, and then start purchasing steaks and ground beef and vegetables, and you didn't buy anything that wanted to create that outcome. So personal education, like you building yourself up, is the same way. It's not about finding the most popular way or this. There's no. When I was growing up, I was always told that there's a safe way to go. There's no safe way in the world. Everything has a cost associated. So what I recommend people do, anyone that my wife and I get to mentor, is figure out what the outcome is you would like to accomplish over the next, after college, whether it's your own business, whatever it is, what kind of outcome do you want to work towards, and just reverse engineer what kind of options you have to getting to that point. Even better is if you find someone who's done that successfully and is willing to coach you through that process.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's look at the outcome you want and then figure out what's the best route to get to that outcome versus let me go this general direction and just see what comes up. That's what most people do, which is why the job market is oversaturated, because everyone's going this general path versus deciding on a path based on the outcome.
Like if you want to be a dentist or a doctor, you're gonna have to go through degree school, and then you're gonna have to go through medical school. Please
go to medical school.
But say someone wants to do welding, most places only really you only need your high school diploma for that. But
yeah, medical school might not be effective there. But let's pick a path that helps you become an effective welder, whether it's a trade school or a certification course you do, whatever it is. You find a path that gets you to that outcome in the most effective manner.
Yeah. Would you say business degrees are still effective? Would you recommend business degrees?
Oh, you're teetering some gray lines here, Allie. So I'll say from my standpoint, which is what I should do. As an entrepreneur, the business degree I got hasn't provided the ROI that it would somebody who is long-term pursuing being involved in the business world. Doesn't mean that it hasn't provided value to me, but in a business degree, you more so learn about business and you figure out what in the world of business you become more passionate about. My wife and I are entrepreneurs, so we are the kind of people that love to just start something from scratch, reinvent the wheel when you're doing something. We like to find new ways to do our own thing. So a business degree gave me a frame of reference for how business, like the different aspects there are to running a business, but it hasn't provided the ROI in terms of teaching me about the lows of having a bad year in a business, how to start your own business, how important personal development is when it comes to your self-image in your business. So I'm still grateful to have the degree, but from an entrepreneur's perspective, the degree might not be as helpful for someone as someone going for a marketing degree to learn about that and then pursuing a marketing career. That's a much more specific matchup compared to here is the umbrella term of business, and entrepreneur is a segment of that, but there's not much specific from business you can apply to entrepreneurship. It's very much so you have to learn on the journey, which business degrees teach you. Here is the umbrella of what is involved in the business world.
And my last question for you, and then I'll let you go on with your day. Do you have any regrets in what you've done? Whether that's playing golf in college or going to college in general. Like, obviously you love what you're doing now, but do you have any regrets going along?
I'll say I regret not maximizing every opportunity from college beyond. Obviously, we're still doing well. We're flourishing. We've been blessed in many ways, and we are building towards some very cool outcomes over the next 2 or 3 years. But I will also say I didn't maximize my opportunities when they came in college or just out of college. So I would say my biggest regret is not maximizing any opportunity, any and every opportunity I was given while I was in college, because you never know what those opportunities could create long term, and if they don't match up what you think, if you can't immediately envision what this thing will help you with 2 years from now, it's difficult to give your full effort. So I regret not giving my full effort to something in the present that could have really helped me 2 years down the line. But like you said, still living a great life, still enjoying what we're doing and living a value-based life, and we plan to keep doing that and just keep learning from our mistakes.
All right, well, that's all I have for you. Thank you very much for your time.
Cool, glad to help.